Welcome back to our series on Lightspeed framework features. Today we will review the built-in capabilities around combo box implementations. Over the years, you must have used combo boxes in many application forms to enter data that is tied to another entity like a country or a state lookup table. While developing the application, the key decision any developer is faced with is to decide how many data values to present upfront for each combo box, and how to navigate when there are more values than the initial set of data. For a smaller data set, like countries or states, it is manageable, as the available options are limited. But when it comes to a data set with many values, like products, it surely can become a challenge. A common option you may have observed in many applications is to have a selection button right after the combo box, which will then open a list where the user can select the desired value and continue. While this approach does work, it requires an additional development effort and an extra step for the user to use the application. While addressing this challenge, we designed an efficient combo box that requires no additional development effort. The implementation of the combo box is quite simple, with almost no special coding specific to each form. To begin with, our architecture does not require any additional data values being sent to the combo box upfront, which reduces the effort of fetching additional data and makes the form smaller in size. Then, as a user engages with any specific combo box, our framework will fetch the required data only for that specific combo box. And in order to limit the data, we have provided two settings: page size and maximum page size. The page size setting defines the initial number of data values which will be fetched when requested, and if there are any more data values, the combo box will display a more button so that the user can make a call to fetch the remaining values or not. And as a safety, the max page size setting will define the maximum number of data values to prevent any combo box from choking the database. We are currently using the page size of 10 and the maximum page size of 50. As you can see, once the initial 10 values are displayed, the more button appears, and when that button is clicked, it will fetch more data up to the maximum page size value. The combo box feature in our framework offers the type-ahead search capability, which will limit the rows of data dynamically as you type in some values to search. We have added starts with, ends with, and contains as a search option for the combo box to provide more flexibility. Our recommendation is that users should be trained to use type-ahead search to limit the data, and the default page size is then usually sufficient to handle most of the use cases. In the unlikely event, the more button can be used to get additional data as needed. While the standard implementation made the big impact, we were thrown a challenge to handle the custom sorting and filtering needed in combo boxes. Many times, users want the ability to show combo box values by some sort of filter criteria and in a specific order, like only showing active countries and then showing few common values at the top, followed by the rest. In order to accomplish such requests, you will need to define additional data sources that will return the required data values, but such approach will end up with too many data sources very quickly, and it can become overwhelming when you need to make updates to those data sources. In our framework, we have separated the data source from the custom implementation for each combo box. The data source is defined at the design time, but the filtering and sorting can be configured at runtime using the metadata to achieve the desired results. Let's define the combo box setting metadata to filter those countries which contain the letter U and order them by the name in a descending order. As you can see, after entering the metadata, we have confirmed that the change is in effect immediately. Many times, while you're working on a specific form, you may notice that the desired value is not an option available in a combo box, and it must be added. In those cases, you must close what you are doing and then enter the required value in the appropriate entity and then come back to work on the original form. We wanted to have a solution which will allow users to enter the missing data without leaving the original form. Since our framework uses the new MDI approach, you can quickly open a new MDI, add the required lookup value, and then return to the original form and use the newly added values. You can also configure the ability to show Add New button within the combo box, which will then open a pop-up where you can quickly add the required value. We want to point out that the Add New feature will only appear in the combo box if you have the required permissions to add the related data. Let's extend our combo box setting to allow for addition of a new country on the fly. As you can see, once we add the metadata, the option for adding a new country on the fly comes up, and the newly added value is then available in the list of options to select. I'm sure that you have come across the use case where you have dependent combo boxes, also known as make model use case. While such implementations require significant coding for each form, as you need to handle various scenarios, our design team got to work and came up with a simpler implementation where such needs can be implemented as a metadata. By using the metadata, the forms remain a lot simpler, and we achieved our low-code focus. As you can see by default, you are able to see all states no matter which country is selected. Once we configure the metadata by defining the dependency, the values in the state combo box are limited to those for the selected country. And if the country is not selected, the combo box for the state is disabled. These enhancements to the standard combo boxes have reduced our effort in every project by having less data source definitions as well as cleaner forms. All customizations for the combo boxes are then defined by creating the combo box metadata. Thanks for watching, and we encourage you to watch other features of Lightspeed framework. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.